Well, hey there. Thanks so much for joining us right here on KC24's Facebook page for our special coverage of the California primary. I'm Evan Onstadt.
And I'm Stephanie Berugian. Polls just closed about 2-3 minutes ago here in California. And of course, we want to get to the results just as soon as they start coming in. We should, who knows, within the next half hour start seeing some of those early results. But we're going to be looking at the race for governor. Of course, we know who the front runner is, Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom. The big question is who he's going to be facing in November.
Absolutely. And as we talk about other races as well, for example, when we take our attention to Congress, the eyes of the country on California right now, because what happens here could impact who's in control of the House. Our Alexandria Limon joining us live from Washington with more. What's at stake? Hey, Alex.
Hey guys, well, recent elections in other states point to what Democrats like to call a blue wave. That's Democratic candidates winning races in areas that are typically conservative or swing, and Democrats are banking on the fact or the hopes that this trend will continue in key states like California, and they hope that will help them gain control of at least one chamber of Congress. The most likely one where that could happen is the House, but a big challenge for Democrats in California is that it's a very crowded candidate field, plus the fact that California has a top two primary system, which means the top two candidates in the primary will move on to the general election regardless of their party affiliation in all of these congressional races. Now, on the other hand, the thing that could hurt Republicans both in California and nationwide is that there are so many Republicans retiring or just quitting Congress. Now, today I spoke to the National Republican Congressional Committee, and they told me they are spending a lot of money in key races, particularly congressional races in Southern California, because those could play a big role in which party ends up with control of the House.
Alex, we thank you so much. We'll be watching it. I know you'll be watching it very closely as we take a look here at the U.S. House of Representatives in District 22. Of course, this is Devin Nunes' district, a highly publicized congressional race. Incumbent Devin Nunes, he's in Washington right now because Congress is in session. And as we wait for these results to come in, what you're looking at on the screen right now are the three Democrats trying to unseat him: Bobby Bliatu, Ricardo Franco, and Andrew Jans.
All right, let's check in with Megan Roop. She's live at the party for challenger Andrew Jans. And Megan, how many folks have gathered there, and what's the reaction tonight?
Steph, Evan, it's a pretty good crowd. People are coming through these doors, and with us we have the challenger Andrew Jans himself. Andrew, we talked with you earlier, but how are you feeling right now? We are waiting for the results to come in.
Megan, we're feeling really good. We have a room full of volunteers that are here ready to see the results come in live, and so we're just so excited about the results coming in.
Any worries at this moment? We're minutes away. What are you thinking? What are you feeling after months of work in this?
Well, this is really a celebration of democracy, and it's so important that people go out there and have their voices heard today. And so we're just excited to see the results come in, and really this is a celebration of the volunteers.
And we've talked about this before. There are two other Democrats in this race. There's an independent and a libertarian running. How have you set yourself apart from them?
You know, really what we tried to do is talk about the issues to make sure that we focus on the issues that matter to people most. And these are issues about water, healthcare, immigration reform, jobs in the economy. We've really been left behind here in the Central Valley, and so it's now time to send good, responsible representatives to Washington. And so that's what I've been telling the voters, and I think that that's going to be reflected in the vote totals tonight.
And tonight, as we still wait for these totals, if you make it into that top two, we talked earlier, you kind of had some words about the road is not done here.
Absolutely. It's a long road to November, and so there's going to be a lot of work to do, and we need to make sure that we increase turnout. We've already seen pretty low turnout for the Latino community as well as millennials. We need to get these folks engaged because their interests are at stake, and we need to get everybody to vote because democracy works only when people participate.
Andrew, thank you so much. Best of luck to you. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and stay with us as we wait for these numbers for the District 22 race. Steph, Evan, back to you.
Thank you, Megan. Andrew Jans mentioning voter turnout, and Really, it's going to be interesting to see because as of about 6 o'clock when we had our earlier newscast, only about 2,000 people had actually gone to the elections office to cast a ballot today. Of course, many of the vote by mail ballots have already arrived, but still, it's going to be interesting to see what the turnout is.
It really is. And the Fresno County clerk, she'll tell us that the turnout is usually low for a primary election, especially a primary for the midterms, a non-presidential election. Our Connie Tran joining us live tonight from the Fresno County Elections Office. Connie, I want to hear your thoughts on the turnout and what they're saying, but also for the people who did show up, some of them in Northeast Fresno this morning, there was a little bit of drama for them today, wasn't there?
There was a bit of drama for those that did go out to cast their vote. Bravo to those who have voted today. I spent a lot of time here at the downtown office, but as you mentioned, Evan, there was a bit of drama at least one polling location, according to County Clerk Brandy Orth, up in the northeast. The polling location, I believe, at the Bethany Church up there, they had an issue where an employee didn't show up to the polling place early this morning. They had to rush over to that employee's house to gather up some of the ballots to bring them back to the polling location. So therefore, the voters who were lining up very early this morning, they had to vote provisionally, or they could just come back at another time, and they were able to get everything back up running smoothly by 8:30, but definitely a bit of a hiccup there. As I mentioned, I've been here at the Kern Street location all afternoon and most of this evening, and just a few minutes ago, several employees were at this door here behind me, and they announced verbally out loud that the polls are closed, and if you go on FresnoVote.com, you'll see some of the early results. And I've been refreshing my browser here on my phone, and the results so far as how many of the precincts that are have been reported, only 20% of the precincts have been reporting in their votes. So we're still very much early in on how many votes have been cast, and some of those numbers continue to come in. As Brandy Orth mentioned earlier today, we have 440,000 registered voters here in Fresno County. So far, the numbers that I have gotten from her today were that about 2,000 people came in to this polling location here in downtown Fresno. Certainly, we hope a lot more showed up to the other polling locations across the county. As you mentioned earlier, both you and Stephanie, you said that the primary elections tend to not get a lot of votes out. Brandy Orth agreed with that. People just, I don't know, maybe aren't as interested per se, or don't think it's as big of a deal as the presidential election, but certainly we all know that every election is a big deal, and they certainly urge people to still cast their vote during these primary elections. So we're continuing to, stay up to date on these numbers, and we'll definitely keep you posted. Evan and Stephanie, back to you.
Hi, Connie, and then just a smaller group of people making decisions that impact all of us.
Everybody.
Yeah, we do have some results coming in. We're going to take a look at the Fresno City Council District 3 race. This is in Southwest Fresno. This is the district where Oliver Baines has been representing, but he's been termed out of office. We've got 7 candidates in the running for this seat. The top 2 vote getters could face off in November. Miguel Arias, a State Center Community College trustee, has 32% of the vote, and his closest challenger, Darren Miller, with 14%. But you can see Craig Sharton, who's served on the council before. He's running again this time, very close behind with 13% of the vote. And
the person with a lot of the endorsements in this race, Tate Hill, right now not in the top 3. So something to watch tonight as those numbers come in. Obviously, you see the vote totals. They're very low. And so a few votes here, but a few votes here and there can change just about everything. So it's very interesting.
That's right.
Fresno City Council District 5, Luis Chavez. Running for re-election. Let's take a look at those numbers. Again, Chavez needs 50% plus 1 in order to avoid a runoff in November. He can win it outright tonight, but it's a close race between him and Paula Yang right now, 42% to 38%. That is with 14% of those of the ballots being recorded right now.
All right, let's move on to District 7. We have results there. 4% of the precincts in, and we can see Brian Whalen, an local attorney, has 41% of the vote. Nelson Esparza following with 39%. So it's a pretty close race at that point. Again, for someone to win outright, they would need over 50% of the vote. At this point, who knows? But it looks like it could be a runoff in November.
So that's going to wrap things up for us right now. Again, the numbers just starting to come in. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at governor governor, where the early word right now is that it's looking very good for Gavin Newsom and very good for John Cox as well. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Keep with us here on KC24's Facebook page, and we'll be popping in as well on air as well on KC24.
We're everywhere tonight.
Yes, we are.
All right. You can see the latest numbers, of course, online at yourcentralvalley.com. See you in a bit.